Alright, here's a video review for Unique Toys Buzzing. I've also seen this referred to as Runman, but Buzzing seems to be the more prevalent name, so that's what we're going to go with here. And as you can see, it is Blurr. He does come with his Target Master, little dude right here. And his Target Master does not have a head turn, but he's got ball joints at the shoulders, hinge elbows, ball joint hips, and hinge knees, and he does have a ball joint at the waist, mostly for transformation, but it does give him a waist swivel. So there's the little guy. Here's Blurr in vehicle mode. They have taken a few liberties with this vehicle mode that makes it a little less streamlined than I would prefer, but it does give him a little cockpit seat here for the Target Master to ostensibly sit in. You have to remove his rifle here up there, because the thing is, like, if you just put him in a sitting position, he won't fit. There's no place up here for his legs to go. So how it works is you kind of have to get him in a kneeling position and kind of slide him in there, because there's an open space here in the back that his feet can kind of fit through if you get him lined up properly. I do not have him lined up properly. There we go. You can kind of push him in there and he can ride in Blurr if you want, although it does tend to prevent the gun from tabbing. There we go, that one was tabbed all the way. So yeah, it kind of, I feel like that having that cockpit aesthetic kind of ruins a little bit of what makes Blurr seem super streamlined. He doesn't look bad, he looks like his little floating hover car, but something about having this gap right here, whether you've got the pilot in it or not, kind of throws those lines off a little bit. Obviously he doesn't come with that Autobot symbol. I stuck that on there, we'll get to that later. So we'll set the Target Master over to the side and begin transforming him. And you can see he's really kind of folded up here. He's got, one of the things I do love about this guy is, one, he's very solid. He has a nice, good, solid quality plastic, which is really nice to see. But he's got a really neat transformation. There's a lot of really neat ways that everything folds up and forms the robot and forms the car going back. It's really kind of cool. So we'll start off up here. We'll flip the nose cone in here. Fold it up right here. His hands untab from the sides here. You can lift these. These panels are on a little spring-loaded thing, so they stay up, so you can get the arms out of the way here. And then you come up here. You want to lift up this one side of the seat because it's tabbed together here. It's actually got a. You can see it's actually got like an L tab down there. So you want to make sure to lift this seat up, and then you can untab this side blue panels here. You can. There we go. They will rotate out as you do this. So now you got them looking kind of like that. Up here, the arms untab from the body. You can see they're tabbed in right there. And you can bring them around like that. And then fold these down to the side, because these panels also flip up just a little bit to give them some clearance. And they rotate around and they tab in here. And they'll tab in a little better once we get the head out. To get the head out, you have to pull this whole assembly forward. It takes a little bit of force the first time, because you can see a hinge down here and it looks like there might be a hinge up here, so figuring out exactly where to pull to open that without instructions is a little tricky, but it does flip down like this. Flip his head up, turn it around, and peg that right up in there, and then that will allow these to sit all the way in properly. They're not smishing around his head. At which point you bring the lower half down like this, untab this whole assembly right here, and take the crotch panel. It's on a hinge this way as well as a rotational joint, so you can lift it up, rotate it around, and tab it in there into his waist. The legs, you open up these panels, pull this up, and rotate the thruster inside. And then the feet, you fold this panel, fold this down, fold this blue panel in half, and in like this. This panel also rotates flat. And it rotates like this. And then this folds, alright, this rotates this way. So you can see how that forms the foot. The back of the seat forms his heel. This piece forms kind of the back of the heel, and then the silver part forms his foot. And then just bring his leg down, up, rotate it at the thigh, make sure it's rotated properly so everything looks like that. So his knee works the right way. So rotate that around like that. And again, you can fold this panel. This panel rotates here and tabs in right there and then folds in flat. And this panel rotates up, rotates around, and then folds in to form the heel on the foot. Coming up here to the backpack. So this panel is going to fold in. These panels right here actually untab. They should swing out here. There we go. You rotate them out to the side like this, and then they flip around like this for the time being. And then you take the little fin here, lift it up, fold this light blue panel in, fold that back down, and rotate the whole thing around to the back of the backpack. Push the whole assembly up, fold these down into the sides, and then these two slots right here where the gun pegged in vehicle mode, is this gray backpack piece is going to tab in there. So you just fold this down, tab that together, and then fold the whole thing up into his back, and there is Blurr in robot mode. And it's a fairly clean robot mode for all the folding and fiddling and, you know, angularness of his vehicle mode. Now, at first I thought he was kind of a bland robot, and that's not really the toy designer's fault, because Blurr always was just kind of a blue, just a solid blue robot with a few little details. But especially, like I said, that's why I added this Autobot symbol. It's a little bigger than the slot they give you to fit it in there, but somehow putting that red Autobot symbol on his chest, suddenly it became Blurr to me. Now, your mileage may vary, but that was just my personal experience with the toy. You flip down this handle here on his rifle, and his fingers, he's got, again, one solid piece for these three fingers, a solid index finger that moves separately, and the thumb is fixed in place, but you can have him hold his rifle. He holds it securely in that it's not going to fall out of his hand. It does have a little bit of a wobble to it, but nothing serious, but he does hold it fairly securely. The Target Master, and this is actually kind of a neat little transformation. You lift his waist up like this, and then you want to rotate this. There's two different designs to his legs. This one has the hinge in the bottom, and the handle flips out. If I can get it out here. There we go. Flip the handle out like this, and that you can bring that up towards his head. And then this one comes down like this, and then instead of folding up, this hinge rotates around and tabs onto here. And then the arms come up. You can see there's a little tab here on his forearm that pegs into the side of the gun here. So you rotate them up at the hinge and peg that in. And then again here. Takes a little bit of aligning, especially if the way that ball joint rotates, but you can give him a little pistol here. And he can hold that as well. Again, not super secure, but he does hold it in that it's not going to fall out of his hand. Oh, there we go, peg you in together. Now, if you want to give him a slightly different Target Master, this front part of the rifle does pop off. This piece right here comes off, and there's a tab here that can tab onto the front of the gun. So if you want to turn his Target Master into his full rifle, you can do so. Come on. Here, let's go ahead and take it off to attach this. So you can turn his Target Master into a rifle. Of course, then he's left with just this kind of little piece holding over here. But I do think that's kind of cool that you can give him his rifle as the Target Master. Articulation-wise, he's got a dual hinge head. He's got up and down and side to side, but it does give him a really nice range of motion in the head itself. He's got ratcheting shoulders. Okay, there we go. That fell loose, but ratcheting shoulders, side to side shoulders. He has a bicep swivel. You kind of got this little spring-loaded thing, so it stops it from blocking a lot of his arm poses. Even if you want him straight, it just allows that to still sit flat up against his arm. He's got a wrist swivel here. We already showed the fingers. Waist swivel, ratcheting hips, hip to ratchet out. And I feel like maybe they're ratcheting this way. You're not hearing them click, but when I get to about right here, I kind of feel a little chit. So they may just be really tight swivels. Thigh swivel, hinge knee, swivel there right under the knee. He's got a little bit of articulation in his feet. He does have a little bit of ankle tilt, but just due to the shape of the foot and these panels here coming down the side, it limits that a little bit. But it does give you enough to give him some wider stances that still support him. Size comparison time, and I know this is where everybody's going to start complaining because I don't have their favorite figure with me. But I'm going to show him off with some retail lines. Here he is, just because he just came in. Oh, he's not plugged together. With Robots in Disguise Grimlock. Again, these are just to give you an idea of how big he is. So there's Robots in Disguise Deluxe. Here he is with the Megatron from a couple years ago, Generation of Megatron. Here he is with Voyager Brainstorm. So you can see he's a little bigger than Voyager size, maybe old Ultra Class sized Blurr. Here he is with Terror. And again, a little shorter. Although I think he'd look good with Rodimus and Magnus and all that. MP Magnus and all that. Do I have anything else I really want to compare him with? I think that's about it. So, just to give you an idea, I know I don't have MP10 with me. I brought in, I'm also going to be reviewing the new Biclones figure, and I had to bring in comparisons for that, all of which are huge. So, my apologies for not having something like MP10 or an MP car with me. But, like I said, once I get set up at home, everything will be great. But for right now, I've just kind of used what's here. But anyway, I think he's a really good, solid figure. I wasn't sure on him at first. Like I said, I felt he looked a little bland, but like just sticking that Autobot symbol on him and playing with him a little bit, it's Blurr, and it's a really nice Blurr. Who knows if we'll get one in MP, although they did just announce MP Hot Rods, so I guess we'll find out. But, yeah, nothing on it feels fragile or in... Yeah, I didn't find any parts that I'm like, oh, this is something to be careful with. This might break. It's a very nice piece, and after seeing, I wasn't thrilled by pictures. I was looking at it and I'm like, maybe. And then TFsource got a sample in and let me borrow it, and I'm quite impressed with this piece. I think it's a pretty good. I think it's a pretty solid robot. Let me see. Let me double check the price here. We can do that because we're right next to a computer. So yeah. $104.99. So about $100. And compared to like what you generally get for a third party, that's about a $100 figure there, I think. Like I don't know. Like personally, I don't know if I'd spend $100 on it. I don't know if I like Blurr that much, but I think he is a really solid, nice figure. He looks really good on a shelf. His transformation, I think, is really fun. I'm a really big fan of how they managed to work it out so that the way everything folds around and combines and works to make him a robot. And back to a car. I do wish the car. I wish they hadn't made that allowance for the Target Master seat. I mean, I would much rather found a way to like with Andros. I would have much preferred a way to just use the Target Master as the gun in vehicle mode. Maybe even like ditch the whole rifle and just give you the piece. But I would much rather seen the Target Master just attached to the car in robot mode and maybe not had that cockpit. But I don't know how much of that cockpit design is required by the way they've got everything else set up. And I have to say, if a slightly less streamlined vehicle is the price to pay for the fun of this transformation, then I'm cool with it. That's just if, if wishes were horses and I had everything I wanted. I would have maybe like not had that cockpit and made it more of a streamlined vehicle. But yeah, it's a good solid toy. Like I said, good quality plastic, a really neat transformation, and a pretty decent representation of the character.